Boo.
Retweets, all that jazz.
All that jazz. Boop, boop, boop.
Let me pull my last minute articles. All right, you guys ready to go?
I'll be ready when you guys jump into Zencaster with me. I appreciate that.
That'd be nice.
Be nice if you'd ever share a link. Just saying.
Just saying, it's in Slack. Tom's in, John's in. Don't know what's wrong with you.
One, two. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
You're listening to episode 280 of PHPUgly, a weekly podcast where you cannot bitch slap us. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me is John Congdon.
You did not go there.
And Tom Righto.
Oh my goodness.
You're muted, Tom.
You're muted.
Righto.
Certainly can. I just have to fly for a while first.
OMG. What did we? No. How's everybody doing?
Happy to be back. That's for sure.
Happy to have you back, Mr. Congdon. Happy to have you back.
Yeah. Missed hanging out with you guys last week.
Did you though? I mean,
No,
missing
not
is
really.
a strong word.
I will tell you the podcast suffered for your absence.
I sounded like it. Wait, what?
Just Tom and I staring awkwardly at each other. What's up?
So, PHP, huh? Yeah. All right, we gotta fix the PHPUgly emoticon in Discord. That's already bothering me.
What? What are you talking about?
The PHP
What
Ugly
Discord?
emoticon.
What
Discord.
huh?
Discord.phpugly.com.
Join us live. Hang out with us. It's a blast.
Ask us questions.
Ask
We-
everybody
we-
questions.
we need
we don't
content.
we don't know the
Tell us.
answer.
Well, okay. Tell us when we're wrong. That's more frequently what happens in the Discord.
So,
Provide endless content that way.
what's everybody been up to this week? Anything fun?
Oh boy, yeah. I've been having a killer time with like a big refactor. And I know I say this every time I like refactor something, but God, I love it's like one of my favorite things to do is move a ton of stuff around and rename a bunch of stuff and find all the places where it's used and then like run the test suite, and the test suite's like, got it, good to go, and then like just keep doing like just do that for hours and hours. It's so fun.
It's fun when you have a test suite that you trust. When you have a test suite to begin with and you trust it.
Yes. Now, I didn't like it before I had this job that had a test suite that I trust. But now it's like we have rules on every PR. It has to test all good and bad cases, and like you can't even push to develop without having test cases. So it's very nice in a code base you can trust. And that's mostly what I've been doing, and then dealing with QA stuff, which we'll get into later.
Now, when you say you can't even push to develop, what stops you from doing it? Just
We have-
other people, or is there an actual automated process that says you can't?
We have an automated process that requires 2 approvals from a PR to get pushed into develop. And everyone who's on the approvals team knows you have to test things correctly.
Okay, so it is it's still a manual process of somebody making sure that it's tested before. it
Yeah.
gets
So
started.
our eventual
Okay.
goal is actually to have a code coverage analysis and to require a certain amount of code coverage passing to continue a ticket.
I've been looking for that, but the problem is I want a percentage of code in the PR to be passing, not percentage of the entire code base.
So going back to our Discord, I brought this.
That's a very interesting distinction you just made there.
It
Dan.
is. Going back to our Discord, I wanted the same thing, and there is a command to get files that changed in this branch or in this PR and pass that to your code inspector. And that will give you what you're looking for, so that you know that you're positive 1 or 2 or minus 1 or 2% on coverage because of this PR.
Oh, we're gonna have to check that out.
And there's a service that can do this stuff too called Codicy, which I've started using again recently. And it's an interesting little creature.
Codicy?
Codicy. So it basically looks in the root of your project for PHP MD and PHP CS files, fixer and doctor files, and runs them against your code every time there's a push to Git, and then gives you a report that says, hey, we've got 2 or 3 errors that are flagged by you as high issue. Your strings are too long, or you've got an unused variable. And it does only apply to the branch that you're on, not to the branch that you've pulled from. So I'm hoping to be able to leverage that to do code coverage as well.
I will definitely check that one out. Sounds interesting.
I have no idea what the price of it is because I am a privileged employee of a startup, and so I just get all the toys for free.
It's $15 a month. Oh, per user. $15 per user per month. It's like, why is it gotta be per user for something like this? Charge me,
especially if it's just if it's watching a branch, like if it's watching for a pull request. Like, how's that even How
They
is it even
deserve money. They write
differentiate?
SASs. They deserve money.
I'm not disagreeing, but why certain things are not a per user? Why would all my employees have to log into this versus just watching my Git branch?
So
Or my
I can tell
GitHub repo?
I can answer this. We had another service that was doing code reviews, and they charged us on a basis of how many reviews or how many pushes we did per month. And when we hired, 15 new people, we weren't aware that price was going to spike enormously. And the department that handles the money would rather have a predictable amount they have to pay than a per usage cost that they can't account for on a quarterly budget. So they'd actually rather pay more quarterly than they would have uncertainty quarterly.
And I get that, but there's still the per user aspect of something where I'm not understanding why users are logging in.
I think it's just a way of accounting for the frequency of how something has to run without saying.
But it runs. That was one of my points. Is it runs the same amount of time? Like it doesn't run.
Well, no, it runs
once for each user.
No, it does. It runs every time
Right.
I push it. Every time I push a branch to GitHub.
No, I get that, but that shouldn't be a per user because it's watching a branch. What they're paying a per user is to log in to see the results, and those are just generated or should just be generated one time. So it doesn't matter how many people look at them. It's not like it's generating those results for each user.
I believe it inspects the person who pushed to GitHub and if they have permission to be audited by the system.
Oh, that would. I don't like that at all.
Well, you've got to price it out some way that people can understand.
Yeah, you price it out where it's a flat fee. Why is that so difficult?
But a 10-person company versus a 200-person company is not going to be a flat fee.
It can be a flat fee. Charge them X amount of money every time somebody pushes to this branch. I don't care who pushes to the branch. If I say run this test against every pull request open up to dev.
But that's exactly what my boss wants to avoid. Is the people managing the budget want to avoid having something that is a different bill. It's a different amount every month. They want
you may open 100 pull requests this month versus 20 next month, and your bill's gonna fluctuate all over the place.
Oh, you like making bad API calls? I wonder why he's a little nervous about these models.
There's no reason. There's no reason. I don't even know why you would bring that up in public.
You can say, "Hey, I want 100. I want to buy the 100 test package, and then if I run over 100, they don't run, or I know I have to pay more."
Okay, so then there's
you're meeting your quota. You just want to argue failure with point. Us.
No, I'm saying
so you just want to argue with us.
That would be perfectly nice if it worked, but when all of development stops because the person who's running
development doesn't stop. Your test suite, your extra cushion of testing stops.
But we have a rule.
Stop your workflow.
But we have a rule in our PRs.
You're like arguing with a child. You're like arguing with no, that doesn't work because I'm
the one running the software.
I'm just saying, a per user, when you're running a team of developers and you're charging per user on a product that just runs test against a branch, it's stupid. It's a stupid model, and you should agree with us. And it's upsetting to me that you don't.
Every branch, every time it's updated.
Yeah, I agree. I don't care how many branches it is. So you're saying it only runs when a certain person pushes to a certain branch.
It runs.
And in your mind, that is not a broken flow. That is not a broken development flow. That seems perfectly reasonable to you.
Yes.
God.
People deserve $15 per user for these kinds
I
of
have no
services.
problem with people making money. Listen, don't you preach to me about charging for a service, Mr. I never pay for a movie. People shouldn't have to pay for art. Bullshit, hypocritical mother effer you are. I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm saying as a business owner, that's a bad model, and I would never use it.
Well, you can't say you never use it, because you use it plenty. I'll tell you that much.
What'd you do this week, Eric? Besides argue with children. God, I can imagine when the kids were younger and you just take them to the playground. Explain the concept of fairness to someone else's child. You don't get it. The swing set for everyone.
It was worse than that. I'm like, the duck doesn't wear pants. He has a shirt on. He has a hat on. He's not wearing pants. There's something wrong there. Why don't you just admit it?
But Mickey's got the pants and doesn't have the shirt. Feel like there was a collaboration there.
It's a confusing time.
It still is.
It's getting more confusing every Thursday.
I got a new toy. Somebody in Discord wanted me to talk about my new toy. So I can't even lift the whole thing up. I got a separate yeah. This bad boy. I got this. So when I was homeless, which I wasn't really homeless, but when I was between houses, I had to work a lot on my laptop. And it wasn't that bad. John was hosting my desktop, so I could SSH in. I had this awkwardness where I was trying to use some remote tools from JetBrains that didn't really work out great. But, I have my Kinesis keyboard that I have been using for years.
Be clear here, no fault of JetBrains. Some people just don't know which port to plug a video card into.
To be clear here, it was John.
The video card was in the right slot. The cable to the monitor was in the wrong place.
So I've been using my Kinesis Advantage 2 for a few years now.
Yeah, it's been about like 2.5 years.
Yeah, and I've gotten pretty efficient with it. Now, I am not a formally trained typist. Matter of fact, I am actually horrible at typing. I was really bad with the standard keyboard. I mean, I'm your classic hunt and peck typer, which is weird, seeing how so much of my life was terminal and all that. I was just never great with typing. It didn't help that I have, fat fingers, and I was always hitting the wrong key and all that. But with the Kinesis, the more correctly you type, the better the experience is. And so over the last couple of years, I've gotten a lot more efficient with typing correctly. I'm still not great at it, and I still can't do it like on a traditional keyboard because my hands just like really, are wrong. They don't feel right. So that's what I experienced when I was moving and I had to use my laptop. I'm like, man, I can't get efficient on this laptop anymore. It was just, it wasn't horrible. It's like, it wasn't like, I can't work. I can't work with this keyboard. It was just like, I just wasn't happy with it. And so I'm like, okay, I really want to get working now that the pandemic's winding down. I'd really like to get out of the house a little bit more, get down to San Diego a little bit more often, and just work remote like we did back in the day. So I'm like, I wanted to get a keyboard that kind of kept the Kinesis layout, but I was portable. That's what this was. This has it has the little rest and everything. Let me get this turned around. And all this folds up, and it actually has a very small form factor and has a little case you throw it in there. And that's the reason I really honestly got that. I wasn't planning on using it full time. As a matter of fact, there was another version that was closer to the Kinesis. It was a thicker version of this. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'd want that, but I didn't want to carry that one around. And since I wasn't going to use it full time, I just went ahead and with the Moonlander. This is a Moonlander, but if anybody's wondering. So it's got the little RGB colors, which wasn't a big deal for me, but So, where I was going with that though is, I don't know, man. This might become my full-time keyboard. There's like some really nifty things with this keyboard. So the Kinesis has the concept of layers, where keyboard can be different layers, but it's not super simple to program and switch between layers and all that. This one is. You can switch between layers very easily.
What is a layer? What does that do for you?
It just it's just another version of the keyboard. So you can say, okay, layer 1 is your traditional layout. I have on mine, layer 2 is for media. So when I go to layer 2, all the buttons have like media controls. And, another cool feature of it is that on my layer 2, it fully controls my mouse. So as a Vim person who likes his fingers being on the keyboard, I can switch to a layer and I have full mouse movement, right click, left click, middle click, up, down, left, right. And I assign those keys. So the movement keys are the normal Vim movement keys, except it's moving the mouse now. And then my click keys are on my left finger.
So we're clear, I disapprove of that wholeheartedly.
That's absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. It just encourages me more.
I know.
So the drawback I have is, again, big fat hand. With the Kinesis, one of my biggest loves of the Kinesis was this concaved keyboard that I had, right? So when my hand rests here, my big fat hands, they rest perfectly. And that's actually one of the things I'm missing on this keyboard, because the keys, although they are, I forget what this is called. I think it's called vertically aligned keys. So the keys aren't offset, they're straight up and down. So if you look at a traditional keyboard, your keys are all offset one row above the other. This is how the Kinesis is as well. It's straight up and down, but it's concaved. And this here is forcing me to become even a better typist. Like, this is unforgiving. My Kinesis is a little forgiving. So although I've become a much better typist, I'm still not like to the level I should be as a paid developer. But the Moonlander is less forgiving. Like, you really, and because the keys have different actions depending on how you push them, how long you push them, how many times you push them. So you can tap, double tap, tap and hold. They all have.
So you're typing Morse code?
No, they all have different actions. So the coolest one, and I can disable this, I just haven't disabled it. So the one I do, which trips me up the most, is if you tap and hold a key, and it's only a fraction of a second. So it's not like you have to tap, hold, and wait for 2 seconds. It's like you're typing, you just tap, 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 like that. If you do that extra fraction of a second, it will uppercase whatever that key is. So if it's a letter, it will be a capital A. If it's a symbol, instead of a period, it'll be the bracket. It's just this like little hesitation, which when it's working, it's great because you're not hunting. There are shift keys, but you don't have to have shift keys, but there are shift keys there. And because it's completely programmable, the first thing I did was loaded up the Kinesis layout. So all of my Kinesis keys, especially these down here, got mapped to my new keyboard. So everything is where I expected. And it is one of the things you have to get used to, because if you look, with the exception of the letters, all these keys and all these keys have nothing on them, which is challenging for me because I'm one of these people where I will get lost and look down at my key and say, okay, where are my fingers? Where are the keys I'm trying to go to? But if it's like using the Force. You just close your eyes and say, okay, I know this key is here, and I know that key is there, and so this is
getting better. Close to stenography.
There's a stenography mode you can put this in. You can put it in stenography mode. I don't know how to do it. I mean, somebody tried to explain to me stenography, and I couldn't figure it out. But
it's multiple keys simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's like when you used to have a typewriter.
Yeah, you can key mash this and say, okay, if I hit these 4 keys, perform this action.
But it's also a different language. So it's but there's like situations where you can hit 3 keys at once and it puts a whole word on the display.
Right. So this has that functionality, and I mean, I thought about doing that for like addresses and email addresses and my home address and things like that. Just hit some keys and boom. But I haven't gotten there yet. So I'm liking it a lot. Like I'm liking it to the point where I'm like, man, maybe I'll just use this from now on, because it has so much functionality. But then I'm trying in Vim and like I hold A too long and it jumps to the end of the line instead of trying to do what the hell I wanted to do. Because everything in my system is Vim, right? I got Vim plugins for Vim plugins for my browser. That's the one that trips me up the most, because I will hold down my J key to scroll a page, and now I can't. If I hold down my J key now, it just assumes I'm doing a capital J and moves to another tab. It's frustrating. So, I mean, I have it in my browser. Obviously I have my Vim editor I use. I have Vim mode on my command line. I mean, I use Vim everywhere in my system. So those little hiccups trip me up a lot. I'm on the fence of disabling it. I like it.
I was gonna say, can you turn that off?
Yeah, it's so convenient to have, but I might have to disable it.
I mean,
is it convenient? Is it convenient if you don't really use it?
But you do use it. I mean, use it all the time. Like when you're typing in Slack and you're uppercase and lowercasing, and all you do is hit that letter a fraction of a second longer. I use it all the time.
I can understand that functionality. I just there's times when I linger on a thought, and I currently use that time to let Copilot load up and tell me what I'm thinking about. So,
well, see, at first that's what I was doing. I'm like, okay, this is a teaching moment, because I was always bad in Vim when I was in the Vim editor of scrolling with my J and K, right? I'll just press
because it's weird and unnatural.
And
no, it's not.
And
it's
instead of doing like the 10J down or 20K up, instead of jumping with lines like I should be doing like a proper Vim user, I'll scroll. So I'm like, okay, this is a teaching moment. I'll start to use I'll start to scroll through code properly in Vim now by using line numbers.
Nah.
Yeah, but you don't even have line numbers correct on your screen.
I absolutely have line
current
numbers
line
correct.
Minus and plus. Your current line is always 1.
It's relative. It's called relative number. It literally has a name. It's relative number.
So when I say you've got an error, we've done this before too, where we've coded. We've done
the
pair
fact
programming.
that you can't comprehend the simple concept.
You're going up and down super
you're
fast.
You're a weaker developer because of it.
And I'm like, line 8, no line 6,
problem.
no line 1, no line -1. No, you keep moving too fast.
Like, you gotta do what John says. John's figured it out. He says, okay, stop for a minute. Okay, jump up 6. That's what John says. John understands how to read it now.
It doesn't mean I'm not annoyed by it.
You are coworkers. I just back you up when I can.
So that's my life now. I don't know if I'm gonna go full time with it, but I'm very close to going full time with it.
So what you're saying is you want to co-work more often, and we need to do that.
Oh, you want to be part of that? Yeah, sure, I guess so.
Well, you give me a hard time for driving by your house and not stopping, and you do the same thing to me this past weekend. Drive right by.
Okay.
Speaking of which,
Mr. 3 miles is out of the way because the office is 3 miles away or whatever. You're not right off the 15. I am literally off the 250. You could have thrown a rock and hit my house as you
right off the. I am right off the 15. Anyway, hey, are you using the one wheel at all?
No.
Okay. Next time you see me, bring it.
Huh?
Maybe.
Yes, Mr. Daredevil needs another life-threatening device.
Reason to die.
So
I think
everybody at the glider port uses a one wheel.
You don't say.
Now I want to be in the in crowd and ride around on that thing.
We might have to buy a new adapter for it. I think the adapter got tossed in the move. I haven't found it yet, but besides that, I found everything else. So yeah, I can definitely bring
the
it down with me.
adapter,
The power
The
supply.
charge, the charge.
the charging stand,
But
or just the power adapter to the charging.
just the
stand?
plug, yeah, the power plug that goes in. Yeah, the stand is all there, but yeah.
John,
I see.
I saw
What?
you. I saw you got some kind of flight license this week.
I leveled up. So last week I was gone. I heard you guys say personal reasons. I'll just share that I said goodbye to my dad. I knew when I flew to New York what was going on. That was hard. Came back, and instead of getting back to work for one day, I still took my Friday and I went flying last week. And just to get my mind off of everything, got my last flight to become a P1 pilot. So I am no longer a student pilot. I am now a novice pilot. It was a lot of fun. The instructors were amazing. They let me, I went off for the only flight I could. The weather was not the best, and I just kept kiting my wing. So up on top of the hill, being able to keep the wing overhead and just play. And I was exhausted, and the instructors knew it, but I was having so much fun. I'm like, I'm not stopping. I want to keep going. And they let me, and afterwards told me that they were letting me because they knew what I went through, that week. Otherwise, they would have said, John, you really need to stop your, this is not good. you need to take a break. I'm like, no, I got this.
Obviously, our condolences.
Thank you.
We did, like we said earlier, we missed you very much. And congratulations on becoming a novice.
Thanks.
I mean, I'll give you.
It's kind of like, hey, congratulations for not killing yourself yet. That's good. That's promising.
Yeah.
But that's basically what it is, because there's nothing I don't fully understand the point of the P1 license, because most places that you want to go fly, they require you to be a P2. So P1 is more of just like, we want to give you something. It's a step. You've done the bare minimum of a couple of flights.
Still got both legs.
That's the funny thing is they sell. You can go and take a P1 course by itself, and then later take a P2, or you can do the combined course, which is what I did, and you save a little bit of money that way. I'm like, who's going to take just the P1 course? You can't do anything with that. But whatever. I had fun. I'm still having fun doing it.
I mean, you're not like catching up drafts and stuff like that. You're just taking the glide down.
Well, part of that's my fault. So on my fourth flight, I went off the cliff, and I'm not turning aggressively enough. I think if I would have gotten into my harness like I'm supposed to, and then taken a hard turn, I could have gotten closer to the cliff, maybe got some uplift and had a longer flight. But because I didn't, it was just I got to do a few turns because I was learning just a different technique of turning. More of if your brake line broke, here's another way to turn your glider.
Right. So, I looked up some of this stuff. First off, the thing you're supposed to get in is basically like, once you take off, you basically get in a halfway zipped up body bag. just in case if there's an issue at the bottom, they could just finish zipping it up all the way. But then I thought this was like parachutes where you got the two handles, but you've got like 8 handles.
No, you got 2.
There's like different lines that you can pull differently to like sharply curve.
Oh yeah.
And there's.
Well, there's lines that, yes, you can control more with those lines, but you really only use your brakes. The pulling on the other lines is dumb. They're holding the wing above your head, but in certain situations, you
don't get me wrong. I think the whole thing's
do
dumb.
more. like if you pull on the 2 the outside, you can collapse your wingtips so that you can sync faster. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
like, I'm not going down fast enough. I need to go down faster.
Well, I'm on a 3D printing group, and he was talking about making special handles for these extra lines he had on his paraglider, and he was like, yeah, now I can just do this, and I fucking plummet to the ground. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, cool technique.
Of course it is. All right, enough about that. Eric and I got the April issue. It's going out tomorrow.
Of what?
On April 1st of PHP Architect Magazine. If you're not already subscribed, please go and subscribe at phparch.com. Today we just recorded the March issue of PHP Podcast, but we also recorded the April issue of PHP Podcast. So we are ahead of the game there, behind in one and ahead in the other. So I'm super excited about that. Pretty much all ready to go. It actually goes live on the site tomorrow. So we're ahead of the game.
Clear, there's no reason for us to be excited. We're not the contributors who actually turned in the work early enough to get the magazine out. But they're the ones who are the real heroes here, not us.
I was going to say, do you have like a measure of how much Oscar has contributed to each issue to know like how independent you're getting?
He contributes every month because he writes an article. The first couple of months, oh my gosh, we would say, hey, can you look at this? And he would rattle off like 50 things that we had wrong.
It was brutal.
Anymore it's a couple things here and there, but it's not bad. Like the things that he's catching, if the issue went out like that, it'd probably be fine.
He still catches more stuff than anybody else, though.
Yeah. Although I do like our new workflow where if you're a contributor to the magazine, you get an advanced look at it. So you basically help us proofread and catch any stupid stuff. Yeah. Most people really pay attention to their article, which is perfectly fine. Other people kind of scan through the whole thing and point out things we might have missed, or just like, hey, did you mean for this to be like that?
Yeah, I found that to be super helpful. Super helpful. I definitely, when we release, I feel a lot more confident about the releases.
And for some reason, we decided we're going to make the magazine have more articles. So we added 2 new columns in the past couple of months. We have one on the PSRs, and we have one on Drupal.
The PSR contributor is in our Discord. That would be F. Wallen in the Discord. If anybody has any PSR related topics you'd like to see him write up about.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. Thank you, boy. And then we potentially might be having another new article hitting the magazine in a month. We'll see. We'll see what May brings us.
Well, I got pinged in the Discord.
In California, it's May Gray. I can tell you that much.
It's not much different here in Colorado. I got pinged in Discord to talk about a new RFC for 8.2. The typed class constants.
I saw this, yeah.
And it's really a nothing RFC. Like it's gonna pass, it's gonna fly, no problem. But like I was just sort of amazed that it's not already there.
But I don't understand the point of it.
Of casting a constant.
It doesn't change, so can't you already gather what it is from the declaration?
You can, which means that it's not really necessary, but it provides standardization to the structure of the program. And it also allows you to say, hey, everything has to be strictly typed and require constants to also be strictly typed. It's just a uniformity issue.
That makes sense.
And there's also the issue that constants, be the fact that they don't change, are still read on every execution of the script. So there's a big general misunderstanding of how typing things, statically typing things, works in PHP and what it does, but it has major benefits on the execution path. And this is one of the things that has sort of been on my list in Trello for a while, which is somebody saying, hey, TypeScript has a proposal to drop all typing, but allow it in the code. And maybe PHP should do the same thing for performance. And I was like, well, that's not how performance works in PHP. Like, that's not what it does.
But wasn't that the whole thing with TypeScript? Was that everything was typed?
Right. Yeah. So it's a real strange move from TypeScript. It does have some performance benefits in TypeScript, but in PHP, it does not have performance benefits. It has the opposite. Knowing that something is going to be typed a certain way means not having to check it constantly. And there's Reddit threads about this where I keep wondering like where the experts are. And I'll tell you, Sarah Goldman dropped in on one of these threads and basically said like, hey, you guys don't fucking get it. But it's weird how much people are sort of allowing themselves to go over this without understanding how internals actually works and like why typing is important. And this is just another extension of that. I mean, I can't imagine that there's going to be any kind of opposition to this ticket. It's completely backwards compatible with every version that has supported class constants. It supports all the types you would expect. It supports optional types or nullable types. It's just...
The poll has been closed, though. That's weird.
So the poll was closed.
Or has it just not been open yet?
No, it's not open yet. So since it's an official RFC, it gets the poll at the vote at the bottom, but it doesn't have an opening date for the vote.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's still under discussion.
And I'll tell you,
this poll has been closed. I never realized that prior to it being opened, it already said that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that there hasn't been a whole lot of discussion. Most people have just sort of shrugged and said, "Oh yeah, go for it." As opposed to sealed classes, which have had quite a bit of discussion.
Cool. You know what else is good? It's good to know what your application is doing and when it's doing it. Thanks to our sponsor. Thanks to our sponsor, Honey Badger, it keeps you up to date.
When you're in production, 1,000 things can go wrong. You could deploy a bug in your latest release. Your background jobs can silently fail. Someone could trip over the network cable at your data center, and this all comes back to you. You need to know when bad things happen and be able to respond to them quickly. That's why we built Honey Badger. It's easy to install Honey Badger in your back-end applications and front-end JavaScript. It only takes a few minutes of configuration and you'll have monitoring done. That's because we hook into popular web frameworks, job systems, and the browser, so that when any of them crash, we can automatically let you know. We ping your application from our global fleet of servers to let you know about problems with connectivity, latency, and SSL certificates, and we monitor your recurring jobs to see if any of them stop recurring. When there's a problem, we alert your team using the tools you already use. We can create issues in GitHub, Jira, and other issue trackers, and send notifications via Slack, PagerDuty, or other channels. When you click through, you'll be taken to detailed information on the error. You'll see things like request parameters, headers, user information, and the backtrace. Click on any line of the backtrace to view it in GitHub, Bitbucket, or your local editor. When you fix a problem, just mark it resolved and follow up with the affected user. That's Honey Badger, We're the monitoring tool for web developers who'd rather be, well, developing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you, Honey Badger.
Hey, important note. Mind
Yes.
Blender has joined us in Discord.
Mind Blender.
Mind Blender,
I've been
welcome.
expecting you.
Have you guys been
Hey,
following...
Eric, you know, hey, hang on. You know what we need?
Huh?
We need somebody to write an article about the RFCs in PHP Architect.
Actually, I've had this conversation with a potential contributor, and I pulled the plug on it because I'll explain to you my reasoning. What I told them was I would be okay with that on RFCs that came up for vote and got accepted. But there's so many RFCs that are discussed for so long that don't get accepted. It doesn't make sense to waste the print on an RFC that a year ends up not being accepted. Then a year later, somebody comes back to read an article like, "Hey, what happened to this RFC?" So I'm like, I'm like, yeah, if you want to write about recently accepted RFCs as they're being added to the core, that would be okay. But
I disagree.
and how often does that really happen?
So
I don't
much.
really care if you agree or disagree. We're a monthly magazine,
that's
so
become clear.
even the RFCs that aren't accepted, by the time we get around to writing about it and publishing it, it's too late for an individual to really have an opinion about it. So if they say, "Oh no, that is actually a great RFC," they should have accepted it. There was just no reason. There was no reason for the print, right? It's like a magazine of failed startups. It's like, what's the purpose of that, right?
I do also subscribe to that magazine.
So yes, it has been approached to us, and I had shot it down without consulting you, John, and I stand behind my decision.
Okay.
It would be nice if the RFCs had enough time to make it to print to get to the public discussion stage.
But you can't vote on it unless you're part of
No,
internal,
but you
so
can
even
influence.
that's not
You can
relevant.
influence voters. For example,
Now,
I mean, due
I
to
do
my
wanna be
diligent
clear.
work, you weren't the release manager.
Well, he is. I rubbed a nerve there, didn't I? I do want to be clear. If you think you can contribute to the magazine on the PHP internals code, or just PHP internals in general, processes, workflows, I forget, John, did we release it last month or this month? It was last month, right? Internals test?
No,
it's this month.
no, it's coming out tomorrow.
One of my favorite articles
Sneak preview.
yet in PHP Architect is coming up in April. That is a feature article on a process in internals code base. If you can do that month after month, I don't care if you talk about, like I said, accepted RFCs and the impact they're going to have, workflows, how to contribute to internals, how to test internals, how to code. You want to do that? I am 100% down. I don't want to discourage you by me saying I don't really care to have a column on failed RFCs. I 100% want a contributor who can write about internals month after month. I think the magazine is missing that, and I only further proved my point by the excitement I found myself having reading next month's magazine in this one internals feature article. It was so refreshing to read, and I got so much out of it. I would love to get more of those.
Fine, I won't do it.
Twist my arm, I won't do it.
Have you guys been following this the Lapsus hacker group stuff?
No.
We sort of stopped doing doom and gloom a while ago, but
We have?
yeah, but this is crazy. Group of teenagers as young as like 14. The person who founded this group was 14 years old. Were capable of penetrating Microsoft, Okta, which is a 2FA system. They got the admin panel. NVIDIA, Vodafone, they've released huge amounts of information about these companies, tons of internal documents, bunch of, crazy stuff. And like no one can quite figure out how they did it until yesterday, which it turns out one of their techniques was they had compromised an email address at a police department. And would start sending emails out to companies for emergency data requests, EDRs. And an emergency data request basically means like, hey, somebody's about to die unless you tell us the GPS location of the cell phone, or unless you give us access to this inbox, or unless you do, you give your security system over to us. It's warrantless. It has no verification system behind it other than the fact that it's a .policedepartment.gov address. It's just this thing that American police departments are allowed to do. And there's basically like no checks or balances for any of this system. And so once they got a couple police department accounts, they just started releasing these like emergency data requests and said, hey, emergency situation, many people will die if we don't get this information. And the companies they were contacting just handed over the information.
So I should not have sent that to them.
Probably not.
Damn.
It's
But what were they getting?
Anything they wanted. They could contact any provider of some kind of essential internet service and get full access to any account that they wanted. So they would figure out the email address for somebody who was associated with NVIDIA's internal development systems, and then say, contact Microsoft and say, I need this account right now. I need all the information in the emails, and they would get it. And that would give them full access to
But don't
any
they still
kind of
need like
2FA.
a court order or something?
Nope. No, it turns out that this system of emergency data
Sure.
requests requires no official review and does not require the requester to supply any court-approved documents. So if your email address is a police department email address, it turns out you can basically ask for whatever you want as long as you say people are going to die if you don't get it. And there's not really a department that these companies report back to say, hey, I got this request. So it's tough. It's a tough situation. And with 18,000 police jurisdictions in the United States, there's no real unified way for anyone to handle these kinds of requests. If I say I'm in Colorado Springs or Fountain or whatever, there's no one for them to fall back on and like contact the administrator of the Colorado Springs Police Department, because that would require a massive database that police departments explicitly don't like to have. They don't want companies to have databases of who's employed by them. So scary stuff. The good news is that there is a particularly tech savvy senator who read these articles about these, this abuse this week and is launching a formal investigation. So something hopefully will happen out of this. But the reality is if you can get an address that looks like a police jurisdiction, you can basically get whatever you want through social engineering.
Scary.
Yeah. And I know cops. It's not hard to get their email address access from them. Cops are not particularly tech savvy either.
I mean, the weakest part of the security chain has always been the people. I mean, that's no secret.
So they've caught a bunch of these kids, but the problem is now it's exposed the greater vulnerability of the system.
You said You said it was led by a 14-year-old?
It was when it was started, he was 14. I believe that most of the people in the group were in the 16 to 19 range when they were arrested.
But how the hell does a 14-year-old think about this kind of stuff?
Definitely not the stuff I was thinking of when I was 14.
It's absolutely what I did when I was 14. The internet wasn't as big at that point, but I totally did this kind of stuff.
I was definitely looking out for other things that I wasn't supposed to have, not necessarily EDRs.
Well, I mean, you tell a 14-year-old, hey, did you know you can get information on anybody if you just pretend you're a cop over email? They don't care. Like, cool, I'll try it. And then someone offers them money to do it. And they say, cool, I'll do it for money.
We're not encouraging this behavior, as challenging as that might be to see coming from Tom.
I mean, I was kind of encouraging it.
I was too busy trying to get onto a BBS as my dad at the time. Like, I saw how he logged into a BBS. He had a macro on his keyboard that put in his username and password. So when he wasn't home,
as one does,
I was logging into the BBS and playing games and looking for pictures that I wasn't supposed to have.
I mean, isn't that very much the same thing?
No.
Not even close.
Right. I was asking for a friend. I know that's different. Yeah. That's
completely different.
Yeah, I know. Well, but this leads to a weird sort of twist in the story, is that, you know, if you're watching anything on YouTube nowadays, you see ads for VPNs. And the ads are getting, like, they're very borderline on, like, the legality of what they're supporting.
I was going to say the very same thing. It's like, they're very open. It's like, hey, if you want to watch Netflix, but the show isn't streaming in the country you're in, you can VPN into another country and watch that Netflix.
Yeah. Like,
and they're
when
very,
I was
very open about it.
Yeah. When I was a teenager, VPNs were like, yeah, it's just a tunneling thing, but no one can follow the tunnel. And then, like, they would kind of wink at you. But now they're like, no, you can circumvent, like, all the terms of services you signed. You can do illegal shit in Russia. Knock yourself out, kid. And, like, that's YouTube. But one of these VPNs kind of, like, went a little too far. So Liquid VPN basically said, hey, we give you access to Popcorn Time, which has all these pirated movies, and no one can catch you downloading these movies. Like, so their marketing explicitly said, like, Popcorn Time access that's untraceable.
Interesting.
And it turns out that, like, well, yeah, like, you know, you can trace it to the users, but you could trace their VPN to what it was watching. So, so they got ordered to pay $14 million in damages. Because they said, like, if your VPN is saying, like, hey, you can do these illegal things and no one can catch you, then, like, guess where the responsibility falls? Right there. It's like they're not providing a different service than anyone else. They were just marketing it differently. And their marketing ended up costing them $14 million plus because they were using the name Popcorn Time. They lost a judgment for $250,000 to the owners of Popcorn Time.
I'm not even sure how true that is. Ablets and Discord kind of touches on it as well. Providers always seem to know you're using a VPN. So we actually have a VPN. I have a couple of VPN solutions I use. I use a VPN that I pay for. I have a VPN for Diego Dev that we created that we use,
which is a pain in the ass.
It's a huge pain in the ass, but it's a great security tool to have because it allows us to lock down servers for certain access, like SSH access to a particular IP address. And then I have VPNs for clients that we have. They'll have a certain VPN I need to be on to work on their material. Mm-hmm. And I have accidentally been on any one of those 3 VPNs. And if I hit Hulu or Netflix, it always says, hey, it looks like you're talking to us through a VPN, or you're not talking to us through a proxy. We're not going to stream anything to you because we can't figure out where you're actually at. I'm like, okay, dick. I work for a living and I had my company VPN on. I'm fucking sorry. And, turn it off to get it up. So I don't know. I mean, I've been a little curious to try some of these services that claim that, but I don't care enough to do it because I'm not that person. I don't care enough about it, but
I'm all for a VPN for what you're talking about. Accessing machines behind a firewall makes perfect sense. I use a VPN for one of our clients where not all of my traffic goes through them, only my traffic to those machines on the VPC and AWS, for example. So I don't have the same issue as when I'm connected to our Diego Dev, where we're tunneling all traffic through the VPN. So now when I go to other sites, I'm constantly finding myself being blocked, and I'm assuming it's something about DigitalOcean is being blocked at Cloudflare. So constantly having issues connecting to different. I can't even go to the USPS.gov. Going to pay for postage or check on rates, you get blocked there. So I end up only connecting to the VPN very short term.
A lot of stuff still relies on IPv4 matching and blacklisting and whitelisting. And there's a lot of scripts out there to try to figure out if this IP address that keeps hitting you is a VPN or not. And once they flag that IP,
legitimate uses for VPN. I mean, we
there are
some, and I will say, if you are somebody who works a lot remote, like if you work from cafes and stuff, a VPN is not a bad idea because you can never be too sure.
But is that still true these days?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Even though most things are over HTTPS at this point,
100%.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, again, you could be at a Starbucks that has a compromised router or something that's being sniffed, right? I mean, there's all these kind of...
Well, HTTPS is at the client level, but the situation is that HTTPS is the primary method. There are still ways of spoofing certificates between the client and then between the middleman and the server. So it can look like you're on HTTPS, but you're actually not. This is actually, glad you brought it up, a big issue with Chrome right now. I'm not sure if you guys have updated Chrome recently, but there is
update right now, but I haven't done it in a while.
There is a 0-day on Chrome that allows for arbitrary code execution that they have not disclosed how it's exploited or anything like that. They just disclosed that it's been exploited and that North Korea is actively using it to compromise machines running Chrome. Beyond that, the method of exploiting Chrome is so sophisticated that they wait to footprint you or fingerprint you as an exploitable system, spin up a virtual server instance to serve that exploit to you one time, and then break down the whole system again so that no one else who inspects the behavior later on can pull what actually got sent to you. It's a very sophisticated attack. And if you're running Chrome, as soon as this episode is over, make sure you update and restart. But that's the kind of thing that that using a VPN is still helpful for. The problem is that VPNs, advertising for VPNs has become such an incredibly prevalent thing that people who are just doing basic web surfing at home are trying to use a VPN, and everyone's getting funneled through a few thousand IP addresses now. And I think the advertising for VPNs is very strange. Like, one of the biggest advertisers for VPNs is on PewDiePie's channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see them all over the place.
And I'm like,
it's odd they don't advertise on a programming podcast. That seems weird.
I don't think it's that.
Won't do that.
I don't think it's that odd, because
they should.
Well, Linus Tech Tips did do VPN advertising for a while, and basically, as soon as they were informed that the VPN was not being as clear about their logging policies as they were saying, Linus Tech Tips canceled the advertising contract and dedicated an episode addressing how VPNs can lie to you and they're not actually as secure as you think. Which is, turns out, if you fuck with tech people, they kind of fuck back. It's strange.
What's strange is we've been doing this for 280 episodes.
Thanks to our supporters.
Hey, we came in under the wire. I knew there was something I forgot to do. It's technically still March here on the left coast, so we're good.
No, it's still March here. It's still, we're good.
That's what he's saying. It's April on the other coast at this point.
Yeah. Huge thank you to all our patrons. We're still. I'm working on getting new layout for the YouTube podcast.
Did you get your new machine set up yet?
It is set up. It's not. I haven't reinstalled Windows. I've just discovered that if I only run a couple tabs at a time, I'm good.
Classic Windows, man.
Yeah.
How about you, John? How's your laptop? You've got a System 76 laptop. I'm very curious about this. We haven't had time to talk about it. Oh yeah, we have a couple people in our Discord who have new System 76 laptops as well.
Honestly, I haven't done a lot with it.
How's the build quality on it? Are you happy with it? Does it feel good?
It feels fun. It's super light. But I just haven't done much with it other than make sure it was installed. I don't even think I have PHP Storm on it yet, to be honest.
I mean,
that's why I need it.
That's
why I need to do some more remote work with you and get it all set up and working right.
Absolutely. Now, well, you got to get that. You got to get that Cloudflare SSH tunnel set up in your desktop now as well, man. That was a complete game changer for me.
I need to figure that out too.
Yeah, definitely.
Why Cloudflare SSH, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. It just worked really well. I like the security around it. So if you find another one, get SSH access. I mean, even if you want to, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing port forwarding on your system, but if you really wanted to, you could do that. All right.
I'm still working on my home server setup. But
why do you have a home server? What's that for?
Pirate. Not over this.
You talking about for your pirated movies and stuff? Okay. All right. Your home entertainment system. I mean, when you say server, I think different things. So.
Oh no, it's a server.
Okay, it's a server. It's a server. All right.
Hey,
I've got a server.
It's like 2U, okay? That's above average.
2U too, buddy. I used
All
to
right, I'm gonna
have
finish.
I used to have 2 racks in my house. If you
Well,
can
yeah, then
believe
you
it.
got cancer and had to get rid of one of them.
That's actually
No, that's not what happened.
you have the strangest obsession with my balls. I swear to God.
I do.
See now I should slap you and say, "Keep my balls out your mouth." Keep my balls out your mouth.
Oh, right. How do you suggest a title in our Discord channel, discord.phpugly.com?
Okay. Yes. Bang title, and then what you think the title should be. I can't wait to see the thumbnail on that one.
I'm so glad we did not.
Tom, we
discuss
need you
that
to make
any
this
further.
face.
All right. I think that's it. I think that's good.
It.
John, I'm happy to have you back.
I'm happy to be back. For
We're
sure.
happy to have the April edition of PHP Architect coming out tomorrow. We have some new subscribers to our print edition, and I've gotten some positive feedback on the quality. Something that always slips through the cracks with the print edition of PHP Architect is the quality. It is very nice quality magazine. So, and we do have monthly print subscriptions now. You can do a monthly print subscription and see if you like it. But this is not an official sponsor of PHPUgly. We just,
just seems that way
love-
with the
love
t-shirts
the
and the
magazine.
hats.
Yeah, just love the magazine. It's just kind of important to us. All right, that's it for episode 280 for PHPUgly. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep
Keep
it
it
ugly.
ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike
Demoted.
my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional. But I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting. I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no
You guys should have an
exaggeration. What
elephant
do y'all
artwork
do
of the
for a
month.
living?
Pin
Web
up.
applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
All right, Discord. I need titles.
I gotta get that scene trench system to fade the audio.
Arguing with children. I think Joe got the title last week.
Can we stop the
So-
feedback?
I missed a few things. Touch of gloom. Special. Arguing with children. Yeah, I think Joe's got it this week. RFCs, hackers, and VPNs on my. I think Joe might have it. Arguing with children. Seems right.
VPN to my heart.
That's cute. I like that.
We could do an April Fool's title since it'll release on April Fool's. I don't know. I can't think of any that would be in good taste at all.
This is something. We can just do something really trolly, like our switch to Ruby or something.
JavaScript ugly. I don't want to do that because I don't want to feed the Google algorithms some dramatic change and just watch our viewers plummet.
We didn't talk about the Raspberry Pi giveaway.
Oh, I meant to bring that up too. I forgot what happened. We pivoted and
I was going to bring that up, but I didn't know if you were like what the status of it was.
Yeah,
We're starting the next one. phpa.me/pi4 goes live tomorrow. Or
so
in
you
2
have
hours.
after show listeners, you have inside track. Is it
Doesn't get you anything by having that, but sure.
Yes.
Is it midnight PST time?
I think so, yeah.
No, it's yeah, it is.
No,
I think so.
No, I'm talking about when the raffle goes live.
Oh, just saying it's midnight.
It's midnight somewhere.
It's midnight
Let me
somewhere.
see. Is it live?
I mean, it'll be midnight here.
Starts in 2 hours. So
yeah, so it's our time.
I mean, I could make it live right now, but I'm not going to because it's a pain in the ass. And I don't want to.
Did we tell you about the last winner, Tom?
Oh, I heard.
You heard? Okay.
What did you hear?
That he was like 10 minutes from you guys. You could
250?
deliver it by hand.
He was an SDPHP member. Yeah.
Should be 259. Did I type that wrong?
What are you talking about?
I'm assuming I typed that wrong. Trying to make sure everything's ready for tomorrow.
What did you say, Tom? Put your title in there, Tom. VPN to my heart. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you do it.
There you go.
There you go. I love John, you probably remember this. Tom, you won't have any idea what I'm talking about. But back in the day when you used Vim, if
older than
file,
John.
Huh?
But you didn't use Vim.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think I did on BBSs?
I apologize, Tom. Well, this particular circumstance is what I'm talking about. If you used Vim and the file you're working on changed, either from another editor or something, the Vim would say, hey, this file has been modified since you last loaded it. Do you want to load the changes? And you're like, yeah, load, right?
Yeah.
Well, I assume it's with modern day Vim too. I don't know, but with Neo Vim, it's like a regular editor. You just see the changes appear as they come in. I love that. VPN to my heart. Okay. All right. Tom was thumbnail last week, so I think it's your go here, John. I think I need a thumbnail from you.
What did you go with the title of?
VPN to my heart. So, can I get a full screen? Oh no! Don't worry about. Let me get you full screen here. Okay. Wait. What the hell? How do I do that? Can I put you over here in full screen? Can I put you over here in full screen? See. Yeah. That'll work. Hold that right there. You can take your take your headphones off. Don't do it again. I didn't tell you I was done. Take my off. Go.
Because I can hear you without my headphones.
Can you not see me? I do this. No, I didn't do that. I didn't.
Have you guys gone on TikTok?
Not in a long time.
Never been a real TikToker.
Wow, I went on there the first time this week. What a cesspool. It is bizarre.
Why is that?
It is.
My kids are on it all the time. So, well, my adult kids, so I can't really judge them too much.
Doesn't count.
Yeah.
No, it's mostly an OnlyFans advertising platform.
TikTok is?
Yeah. Like it's
maybe
like
it's the people 90%. You follow, Tom.
Don't follow anybody. Just pulled it up the first time. Immediately it was just tits. Like all tits.
Then I have not seen that on TikTok, so I'm
using it wrong. Said you haven't been on it in a while. Because the old platform used to be Periscope. So I guess when Periscope shut down, everyone moved to TikTok.
Periscope was the Twitter thing though, right? That we were on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real weird.
I don't think we have enough PHP in this show. I like the shows where we have a lot of PHP.
We had a good amount of PHP. I went off for a while.
Did you?
I wanted to talk about this TypeScript PHP thing and how these idiots on Reddit, for some reason, think that type checking slows down your script.
The new issue is live on phparch.com. If you're here with us now, you get the heads up. It's there. If
really
you are
the bar high for next month.
if you're a current subscriber, you will have access to it in your account now. You just have to click over to the back issue section.
Run now.
Back issue. That's the word you were looking for in the other podcast, Eric.
Back issue. Yeah, we said it on previous issue, right?
I think so. Something.
All right, let's just do something.
If you're not a subscriber, you have access to the free article on which license to choose.
That was a good one. That was a good pick there, John.
Thanks.
Good pick. Let's see. What do I want to do? Hey, Tom, do you know if the YouTube thumbnails can be GIFs or GIFs? Can they have movement?
They can have on hover movement, but I don't know how much control you have over that.
Oh yeah, the unhover movement just starts showing you the video.
I don't think it does. I think when you're at a certain level of subscribers, you can modify that, but I highly doubt we're able to.
Well, that's hurtful, but you're probably right.
It's hurtful, but true. All right, Eric, I'm gonna go ahead and do the binding now.
Yay! That'll make Zencastr so much fun to get on tomorrow.
Huh?
Not Zencastr, Zendesk. Whenever we bind, we just get this flood of emails to our Zendesk account.
We need to fix that.
Don't know what either of those things is. Don't know what binding is. Don't know what Zendesk is.
So binding is when we release a magazine, we also have to bind it to your account. So we say, okay, Tom has paid for issue 259, and now we basically take one of your paid magazines and say, okay, you paid for this specific issue.
Gotcha.
Your account is bound to it, so that as long as you're a subscriber, you get access to back issues. But when you're no longer a subscriber, you only have access to issues that you've bought or you have been bound to, basically.
It's funny that you say, I never understood the purpose of it either. You just explained it to me. Oh, yeah. That makes so much more sense now.
I just realized I didn't start Tmux.
That's what I'm here
before I
for.
did this.
I ask the hard questions.
Hey, you need help with your Tmux setup? Let me know. I've got mine nice and dialed in right now. I'm very happy with it.
No, I always run this script in a Tmux shell just because it's done remotely, and I did not for this. So,
all right, I gotta run. Thank you everybody for watching.
Excuse me?
I gotta run. I got something to take care of.
Okay,
right,
man.